Okie dokie.
Great, you're live.
All right. Assalamu alaikum. Say it one more time. Assalamu alaikum. How's everybody tonight? Pray all is well in the black nation. Maybe it is, maybe it ain't, but it will be. We move into a different time now. We're moving into the area of take hope. This is the time we're living in. People, your enemy know this. You Negroes don't know it at all. Because you try to hold on to the coattail of your open enemy. And if you don't let it go, you're going into the fire. Assalamu alaikum. In the most holy name of Almighty God Allah, who came to us in the person of Master Faraj Muhammad, the great Mahdi, who was to come and has come to restore we who are lost from our own kingdom of Islam and destroy those who have destroyed us. Oh yes. God our God, Lord, our we are thy people. Deliver us from our murderers, and we serve and obey thee all the days of our lives. And we teach our children to submit to thee, to that unequaled love and mercy for thou. And thanks to you, Allah, for making manifest to us, our enemy, the devil. And help us, O Allah, to live the life and die the death of a Muslim. I bear witness there's no God but thee. I bear witness that the most honorable Muhammad, Elijah Muhammad, is your last and greatest apostle. I pray, Allah, you move the heart of the devil from thee, as well as the black nation. Thank you for your mercy. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Assalamu alaikum. You know, I won't have this subject long tonight. But the title of this subject is The Return of the Original Man. Some of you are different with my definition. And I think about these things a little bit because a lot of you will debate certain terminologies, certain things we say. But I remember the time when you all black people didn't even know what to call themselves. Now you got all these scholars and Negro scholars, and everyone wants to be called the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, the God of the universe. They done went and did a little research somewhere here and there. And we Anunnakis, and we all type of this, that, and another. We direct descendants of the Creator himself. We from that holy tribe of Shabazz, the rebellious ones, stiff-necked and rebellious. But we the first ones who manifest themselves into the physical and come on this planet. We the first ones to rebel against the true and living God. Mr. Shabazz come along and say, well, we live in East Asia. And he said, I want to take my people, go down to the jungles of East Asia. And the scientists told him not to do it. But he rebelled and did it anyway. brought us down into the so-called Africa, to the wilderness, to the jungle, to the heat. But he had to change the way we look. He had to make our hair kinky in order to deal with the heat. The hair used to be straight, black eyebrows, pretty black, beautiful white eyes, black eyeballs, etc., etc. But we came into the jungles, so-called Africa, and tamed it, tamed the beast, because, we didn't have any fear, but we were rebellious. Didn't have any fear of the animals. A lot of things that we did with our mind. We knew how to move the atoms in the atmosphere around us. We set up civilizations, kingdoms, righteous civilizations, practice high mathematics, science, technology, and build empires. We knew all the stars and the planets in the universe, highly civilized, cultured people. We worked together in harmony. We didn't know what it was to lie. We didn't fornicate amongst one another. We didn't rob. We didn't steal. We didn't know what it was to cheat. Whatever we said we would do, we done. We had a higher order of living. There was no such thing as poverty or hunger, mental illnesses. There was no sickness among us at all. We know how to go to the earth, use herbs, know how to grow our own food. Now we complain about the food is no good, but we don't have enough sense to start growing our own. We still go in the stores and buy this poison food. We still complain about this, complain about that. We didn't know what it was to have homosexuality in our community. We had a heaven right here on earth. We lived in peace and harmony. We didn't have wars amongst us. And black people have never had a world war, period. Think about that. Up to this day and time. Now we live in a world that's totally against our nature. We live in a world, flash forward to 2025. We're on the bottom. We're praying to keep hope alive. Once upon a time, we were highly spiritual people. We know how to use telepathy. We know how to move items down the river with our mind. We know how to grow our own foods. Once upon a time. But now, we depended on someone else that don't look like us. We don't understand nature. We lack the knowledge of ourselves. They don't know the nature of a woman. Man don't know his nature. If he did, he wouldn't be bending over. If he did, he wouldn't be praying to a mystery God. He would be praying to unleash the gift that he was created with from the inside. Bring it out into the universe. Everything that we pretty much know came from the Caucasian. He went and renamed everything. Trying to tell you how the universe got here. But we know the awakened ones on the planet. He said we evolved from the gorilla. Think about that, because up to the state of man. Well, it really talking about itself. Because when Moses went up in the caves of Europe, wanted to be marching across the hot desert sand and making trouble amongst the righteous, the king gave an order, they got to go. So they had rounded up by the soldiers. Some of them hid them in their homes and stuff. Some of the brothers got to fall in love with that fair skin and hit them. But the one we marched across the desert sands, some of them made it, some of them didn't. They went up to them caves, went down on all fours and forgot to speak the language. And did a lot of things, animalistic, and grew hair all over their bodies and tails. Let's just give you the history. These are just facts. Started eating raw meat. And they started grunting and all this old type of stuff, man. And the dog became the best friend. Now I see everybody in Georgia damn near got a dog. They was afraid of fire. Didn't know how to fish. Didn't know how to build their homes. And water, that just like throwing hot lava on them. There was no such thing as bathing and none of these things. Until Musa was sent up into Europe to bring them back to fulfill prophecy. But he had to sleep with a ring of fire around him because they ate him. They had a couple of wise ones, called them so-called Jews. And he brought them back out. And did you know that when he brought them out the caves hillsides of Europe, we had to reteach them on how to speak? They had forgotten all this. That's why they got called the European Renaissance. That's why you should read the true history of the Moors. When they went across the Strait of Gibraltar, went into Europe and Spain and all these various parts of Europe, and brought in agriculture, mathematics, technology, built beautiful homes, streets lined with lights, sewage system, irrigation system, colleges and universities, medicine, taught them hygiene. The only thing they had up there pretty much was a damn potato. And they started to migrate again amongst our people. They would go down in Africa and see how we were living, man. And they had plenty of disease in Europe. Remember the Black Plague? Remember you running around in silk and gold and diamonds, beautiful palaces, high-level universities, man, and knew how to navigate the planet. And they seen that black woman, oh, they was all struck. Oh, they women, man, look like a, shaggy dog. I'm just telling the truth, man. Beautiful black women running around with their grace and charm. They were fascinated, man. They did. That's why they wrote the story of Mansa Musa. Went down there, seen had all this gold and caravans, camels, horses, and seen the pyramids, beautiful, clean, fresh water. We sitting in a room with lighted, and they had set up a system of just sitting like up under, like we sit up today, up under the air condition. And they started taking them stories back to Europe. And Frank said, they living like that. Billy Bob said, damn right. He said, we got to get out there with these folks and see what they're doing. We got to get some of this for ourselves. Because a lot of things that we traded in was the books and the knowledge. We traded in books, spices. They didn't know what it was. They used spice on the food. That's why they give you the story of Marco Polo when they went to China and discovered the gunpowder. Ain't know nothing about this backdrop on the history. And this is the history we should be teaching in our homes. Not worrying about them teaching our history, because they really don't know it the way we know it. You understand what I'm saying? They changed the time, they changed the calendar, and they started using technology on us. And this is what we have today. When you look at their history, when it began, all they started doing was having wars after wars, death after death, and destruction, colonialism. When in the Congo, killed over 20 million of our people. The job Hitler did wasn't nothing. Understand? Look at our history and see what we have lived like that and brought this type of destruction on the planet. And now we sit in the belly of the beast. And you see the condition that we're in. Trying to figure out a way out of this condition. All our good leadership, strong leadership, has been assassinated and murdered, taken off the planet, that can give us proper guidance. And I sit back and think, brothers and sisters, because I remember the time when we lived better under worse conditions than this. We were more cultured. Our men dressed better with slacks, jerseys, suits, caps, clean, watches, everything. Our women wore nice, beautiful dresses, wasn't all the way up but butt out. And they looked more beautiful then to me than they do now. Hair tapered and cut back, man. And they didn't wear a lot of heavy makeup. They went out and partied, man, men and women dancing together. Now I see women up there slapping on one another behind. All this old type of stuff. Understand what I'm saying? But we done flipped all the way over. You know, you didn't hear women call one another bees amongst themselves like they do today. If you heard a sister use that word because she done got mad at a sister and called out her name or something. But this is openly being done. We have compromised our own people to get ahead. We don't understand the political process, but we got leaders that know. Well, they ain't really leaders for me, I guess, in front of some of you all. And they tell us to vote, but what they know that they won't really tell the people. This democracy has been gone a long time. There's people that got control over the Senate and the Congress and your politicians that control the stock market, like BlackRock, some of these other people. They make the decisions on who's going to be put in that process, and these house niggas are going to tell us to vote. But I'm going to tell you the way that we can use our vote that could be more effective. Because the duty of the civilized to teach the uncivilized. That's part of my responsibility. And anybody who got this understanding and these teachings, that's their duty. Understand what I'm saying? To teach the uncivilized about the highest civilization that's on our planet. And I want to give you a little bit, if not a whole lot of it, out the message of the black man by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You know, a lot of y'all don't like to hear the teachings of the Muslims, but why you think that he gave you the Bible that he changed? Because he's afraid of Islam. Period. Because it's not his religion. He made up Christianity after Jesus was gone. Jesus didn't teach Christianity at all. If you really sit down and study, why did he give Islam? He tried to keep that out of America. Why did he take the names of the Muslims and made him call himself Toby? Why did he try to kill off all the Muslims and separate them when they came here in 1555 in Jamestown, Virginia? Why did he take the children from the parish and put it in these towns and camps with the mutant woman, his woman? Separate them from that connection that they had to their people and their culture and their way of thinking. There was a reason for that. You understand? Because the only way that you can rule a person that has superior knowledge, you got to hit them in the head and put them to sleep. Inferior knowledge cannot control superior knowledge. This is what you see today is the Spirit of God is coming back into us. We want a change. We want our own. When you all talk about reparation, you want something different. But we ask for reparation, we should be asking for land as well. But we can get this money that they give us, we're going to give it right back to them. We should want some land where we can separate and give us our provisions for 25 years or a little bit more, where we can go for ourselves. We're non-aggressive people, as we're taught, but never aggress us, or we fight to the death. Give you an example, modern time is even with Iran. All the things they did to the Iranian people, killed a general, Suleiman, a general of the whole country. They killed bombed their embassies. They killed their scientists. They killed their commanders. And the Iranians still didn't respond the way people thought they would, because they was looking for peace. They didn't want to be played into a war. These are the way Muslims are, because they thought about their people first. But these devils kept on. Because what Muslims do, we proper plan. They've been playing for 20 years to get this response. When you all secretly, when they stole all this technology from America, the Mossad agents, and built these atomic bombs in Israel, and they lied up to all of this time. Atomic Energy Agency ain't never been up in Israel facilities at all. But you trying to tell another people what they can't have boldly. Pakistan, the only Muslim country that got one, they got them on the list too. You understand what I'm saying? But look at the audacity. So you have to pay attention to world politics, because it's going to affect you at home. World affairs, you always pay attention. That's how you start figuring out what's going on politically. I heard the minister say, Netanyahu, who came to America, you seen the Democrats and so-called Republicans was all in agreement. But when happened the last time you seen them in agreement on anything that's going to benefit the American people? The Democrats and Republicans, they always playing this back and forth game. Think about that. Black people, I'm going to wake you up tonight because the original man on the scene. We're here to take over, and I'm going to tell you what's coming. You understand? Let me give you this little bit, because then I want to jump over what I see that's happening right now in Chicago. Beautiful movement. And I got to give them this credit because this is what Allah is doing. When I seen the brother Golden Child, because I done met him, good brother, beautiful brother. And I knew Allah, the great Mahdi, was in the midst. But it says this, brothers and sisters. If the civilized man fails to perform his duty, what must be done is the question. The duty of the civilized man is to teach the civilization to the uncivilized. That means the duty means that you are required to teach the civilized the arts and the sciences of civilized people and countries of advanced civilizations. We come from an advanced civilization. That's why we were brought here and kidnapped and built America into an empire, the strongest nation on the planet up to this point. But it's on its way down. Look, the divine messenger of God, Allah, raised among his people with the divine message is held responsible for its delivery. This message teaches spiritual civilization. This is what we got to get back into. Our spiritual civilization. Black man, black woman. Which is important to the success of a nation and society. See, we deeper than a culture. We're a society. This is what we got to start using that word more. The society of the black nation. You understand? Highly advanced, highly civilized, highly spiritual, highly cultural, highly scientific. According to history, the people who refuse to accept divine guidance or his messengers sent by his messengers are classified as uncivilized or savages. This is what we're looking at. We got savages all around, up and down. Our youth running wild, shooting up, murdering, maiming one another, running around here talking about they on their G. Well, that ain't what gangsters do. Gangsters protect their own to take care of their own community. But they done got to our people. But let me move on for a minute. There are several civilizations. We have a wicked one and a righteous one. Which one you going to choose today? Is a righteous civilization that is in workings. Now, that's what I'm talking about. That's why I say it's takeover time. It's in the workings, and it can't be stopped. We all have been well trained into the wicked civilization, have we not? Now we must be trained into the knowledge of the righteous one. We must have a righteous, trained, civilized man who will not fail to perform his duty to us in guiding and teaching us. A civilized man got to come on the scene today. And they're starting to pop up. That's why the woman is so important. That's why the father is so important in the home. So we can create a righteous civilization, a righteous society, a righteous nation, a righteous world. It says, my people in America are under the searchlight of the righteous, who are offering to them the right guidance to a supreme civilization of righteousness never witnessed before on earth. We bring something they ain't never had on the planet. I told you about the past, but we bringing something even better. Check it out. The white race has failed to perform its duty of civilizing the Americans, so-called Negro. Have he not? Yes, he have. He got an F plus. Of course, they have been their slaves, the so-called Negro. Of course, they have been their slaves for many centuries. And the slave masters have rights over them as long as they are slaves. However, if the slave masters free their slave, not in words but in deeds, the slave master should provide the one slave with the right civilization, with everything necessary for him to start an independent life as their slave masters have. But they ain't going to do it. That's why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad say what we want. So land we can call our own. A 25 years of provision. That's our reparation, black folks. Because I notice whenever we amongst ourselves, even when you're in large groups of people and you're able to work, strategize, and think, sit down and figure out stuff and work together and build protocol and a system, man, we flourish. But every time you look around, you have the devil. Here he come. He getting nosy. He peeping in, started looking and watching and trying to send people in and disrupt what you got going. Man, we got some brilliant minds amongst us. All you got to do is let us the hell alone. We don't need you. You need us. Apparently you do. If you didn't, you wouldn't have stole us and taught you every damn thing you know. You didn't even know how to drive a nail. You didn't even know how to train a horse. You were starved to death when the Columbus and his boys came over here. And we taught you how to survive. You didn't know nothing. Barely knew how to navigate. Talking about you discover something. Hell, you're going to discover something. Somebody was already here. It says, certainly the so-called Negroes are being schooled, but is this education the equal of the slave masters? No. The so-called Negroes are still begging for equal education. Give you an example. Oh, y'all went to college and stuff, got all these degrees, became good spokesmen, pretty good. But how the Zuckerbergs jump out with this technology? How did Bill Gates them jump out with something with some new technology? You know why? Because they get a different education. If they wouldn't get taught the ABCs and all this old funny stuff, they had them on a whole nother level for academics. And we thought we were doing something coming home with them degrees. And you had to go knock on somebody's door to get a job. But these cats came out with degrees and created industries with their knowledge and the higher level understanding of mathematics. Think about this. That's why your children ain't really successful. They get a good job, buy a good home and all this old type of stuff. You understand? But they ain't on the cutting edge or nothing. Because they pulled the plug, they out of work. We invented the cars and the airplane. You gave the mathematics for them to go out into space. On the top side of that NASA is a black woman right now today. But they miseducating us because we had to put our mind to being free, period. But as a man, I wonder how can you be as a man submit to another man. How could you be as a man and talk about this is my job to go out here and murder your own people with them blue coats on? They treat you like a boy. And if you step out of line, you might end up knocked off. When you get in a tight situation, ain't no backup showing up. But all the black mayors that we have had, all they did or doing is a lot of talking. I say one of the best mayors that we had, really to me overall, Mayor Jackson's pretty good, they say in Atlanta, was Harold Washington out of Chicago. And they gave him a heart attack. Think about these things. We're just so happy to have somebody look like us make it to the White House. It's all selected. And they get nothing out the deal. Only thing we did had Michelle running around. What's she doing today? They go low, you go high. All we got out the deal, black folks. I ain't macking up, just fact it. You see how we been duped? Shit. Certainly the so-called Negroes are being schooled, but is this education the equal that of the slave masters? No. The so-called Negroes are still begging for equal education after blinding them to the knowledge of self and their own kind for 400 years. The slave master refuses to civilize the so-called Negro into the knowledge of themselves, of which they are robbed. The slave masters also persecute and hinder anyone who tries to perform this most rightful duty. Do they not? I'm giving you this knowledge. You already know the reason I'm giving it because you don't seen it now. But this is why it's happening. Anybody that speaks truth to power, your own people won't even support you. I hear my son talk about it all the time, but hell, he ought to quit worrying about that, tell you the truth about it. That goes with the territory. That's when you know you're on the right path, the right track. You understand? And let Allah, God himself, the great Mahdi, is your greatest supporter. You understand? With him, you can't fail. They're talking about the Essence Festival, how it's been coming. Well, no big surprise, because who are your sponsors? When you started getting all these white corporate America start sponsoring Essence, that's how they come in the back door on you. You become so dependent on them now, you got to follow their lead, they dictate. You understand? Otherwise, they're going to pull the plug. You got all the other so-called people coming from other countries want to partake in our stuff. They're talking about the Africans, some of them Kenyans and all that old type of stuff. Now I don't need to shut the hell up, though. We open the door for all of y'all butts to come over here. You understand what I'm saying? And you got nerve to come over and speak on us? They wouldn't allow your butt in the country at all. Period. One for the black man, woman, and child in America suffering and had the courage to stand up and kick these doors wide open for you to come over here. Now you had the audacity to speak on us. Y'all was kind of lucky that we are a good-hearted people. But you need to be wise and shut your damn mouth. You understand? You won't have to worry about Trump deporting you. Hell, we deport you our damn self. Y'all keep over here trying to call us out and talk about us. You understand what I'm saying? You our brother and our sister, but you need to act like it. You ain't better than us. Y'all got wealth sitting all up on your damn feet. And let the white boy come over there and take all y'all stuff. Hey, y'all wearing some damn blonde wigs, sitting up there talking about some judges. Got your children over there working in coal mines and diamond mines, digging with their hands, scrapping for food. You need to shut the hell up and get your stuff right. Or we come and take that. It's facking. Ain't doing no macking. Will the free people accept slaves as their equal? The so-called Negro must be truly civilized, and the right civilized man has not performed his duty until this is accomplished. However, the so-called Negro is free to receive his or her own if they just not allow what? Fear and ignorance to stand in their way. That's the only problem we got. We worried about what the white man could do to us. I ain't never worried about that. You know how many times, man, I've been tried? And I tell my nephew just come home, another nephew I got just come home, man, and how many trials I done been in? How many times I done been persecuted with the men I stood up with? Let me see. One. I had one when we jumped off in the 60s. Well, the youngsters, though, you know, they locked me down, and I ain't never been to jail either. On an arson charge, you know, and, stuff got burned up. And they put me on a $50,000 bond. But our movement was organized, and we had attorneys and people the people supported us. And even the brother snitched on us, with us. He went to prison and came back and testified on me at the preliminary hearing. But he got turned out while he was down. It made him cry, but he still testified. But I'm still fighting. And I end up, I got out. So I had an attorney named Welch. He was a brother. He's well respected in the county, and he put it on docket. A docket call where you just show up to court in front of the judge every month. I did that for over a year. Like I said before, one day he called me. He said, Muhammad, got some good news for you there, and dropped the case. I said, all praise due to Allah. And he said, what happened is that the stenographer that wanted to keep the records in the court and testimony, she had died, and the records come up missing. I'm about 18, 19 on this, man. Shit. I got cut loose on that. I had another case picked up doing the same movement, though. 2 counts of aggravated battery on the police. You understand? And but we fought. He really like y'all. Brother I roll with, we fought. Shit. Fought the pistols too. And so they charged with 2 counts of aggravated battery. And I made bond on that too. And I had to go to court though. And police come and testified, and my witness came in and took a bench trial. Old Judge Mosley. He went to hollering at my witness and stuff. I said, oh, hell, I know how this going. So they convicted me on that, found me guilty. And so I asked the judge, Your Honor, I need 30 days to get my affairs in order. Shit, I'm not coming back. Shit, catch me if you can. They bust me about 6 months later over in Missouri in St. Louis. I was at the hotel, you know, one of them high-end hotels, you know. Young black man ain't supposed to be over there by the airport, move like that. So they caught up with me. So I made the deal with them. I fought extradition. And I said, well, I ain't coming back. Y'all got to give me a deal. Attorney said, I'm going to get you a deal. He said, we can give you 1 to 3, you do 10 years. I said, that's a deal. Signed the paperwork. That's the way it went. And fast forward when it's most of I could throw in there, but I went to trial on another case as well. Right there. They was honest, man. And my mother had moved, because we had moved her out of state because it was too dangerous for the family. Moved to California. And I heard somebody was in the house and set up a trap house. So I went in there to get the brother out. His name was Bo Woodard, too. He upstairs, sitting up there rolling. I went up there, man, he told me, you got to clean the house out, get up out of here. And when I went in there and put my leather jacket in the closet. And when I was up there talking to him, I heard the door open. I looked down, here come the police. Understand? So they brought Bo Woodard down and myself. Said, man, let me go in there and get my jacket. And they reached in, they standing right there, grabbed my jacket, took me on to jail. And so that Monday now, I look at it, I got a drug charge. They done planted some drugs on me, man. Gave me a case on that. And I fought that. What'd I do? I think I did 10 months, but I didn't plead guilty on it. I did another plea, and I appealed it. I did the 10 months to come to Wisconsin. And I think I was there about 6 months. Appellate court came back with the judgment. The man should never been arrested in the first place. You understand what I'm saying? But they wanted us so bad, you know. And I got another case that I'll tell you about. When they sent people in to kill us, state's attorney and the government, they brought brothers in from 4 parts of the country, Oakland, Detroit, and Chicago. And they tried to hit us. We moved back on them and stuff like that. And we didn't really want to kill these brothers, but they went to taking over people's houses and stuff. They came with a whole new form of aggression. And they held the houses, man, and jumping on them, beating them up, and turning the sisters out. Then they tried to move on my brother one night. And we said, well, we ain't going to play with them no more. So we loaded up, strapped up, broad daylight. We knew where they was at. Went up there and rolled up there. We getting out. We ain't doing no drive-bys and all that old type of stuff, front and back. We pulled up, had the police car sit right there in front of the house. You dig? That's how tight they were with the police. They protected. And so we pull off. Police jumped behind us and stuff. And we hit a couple corners and stuff. And brother jumped out, him and another brother, and Reggie was driving. And they jumped off, hit the woods and stuff with the artillery that they had. I kept my strap. And we rolled back around to get them. They coming out, but here come another police coming this way. And I told Reggie, let me out. You keep moving. I'm strapped though, but I ain't throwing my gun away because it was the way they were moving on us. Shit, I might well go on and shit, it'll be me and him. I ain't that about 20, young man and shit. So when the police pull up, get out of his car and stuff, I had never seen him before. And I'm looking at his eyes. I didn't see that killer in him. You dig? So I raised my shirt. I said, man, I'm strapped. You dig? He didn't pull a gun or nothing. Because now I know the law is not a concealed weapon. If he'd have found it on me, it's a concealed weapon. Just a misdemeanor. But they charged me with a felony. And I had to go to court on that. I went to court on that because they ended up locking me and my brother up, man, and my other partner, Willie, he's locked up shooting at the police. But my brother was the leader of the whole movement. So they locked us up in the county jail. And I racked the jury up, though, because we went into chapter 30, studying the law, how to file a motion and stuff like that, because I had to pay the attorney, I had to fire him, though. And so we went to trial. All three of them went to trial on the same floor, different courtrooms. My brother was next door. They had me on a gun charge. I filed for a state's paid attorney, Mr. Mendelson. And we was picking the jury. So I looked at Mr. Mendelson and I said, look, Mr. Mendelson, I need you to put people on this jury that's been in the military. I want somebody that understands weapons and stuff like that. And he looked at me and said, man, ain't no dummy. So we racked the jury and we had some teachers on there. So the second day, the jury falling out, I got a nod. I went back, told the brother. He was in trial too, jury trial. I said, I think I got one. That's all I need is one. And so on that third day, they wrapped the jury and they came back that evening and took it to the courtroom. Officer Jack Field, I knew him. I knew we had some good news because the way he took us over, we wasn't shot. We just handcuffed us in the front. And they found me not guilty. I got acquitted. My brother next door had a mistrial. Woolley, the one that accused of shooting at the police, he had a mistrial. But they took me and my brother out the front of the courthouse. They had all the press sitting out there. You dig? And guess they thought they were going to have a big write-up. We got these Negroes. Man, we throw the Black Power sign up, man, went on back to the upper left, man. We had a little smoke up in there at that time and smoked some weed, man. And, but we had some more to go. You know what I mean? We still had a case to fight and stuff like that. So those were some of the things. I'm not even talking when I got to Oakland, man, and when I started moving in Islam, Joe Black Muslim Bakery and all those type of things. We had 2 jury trials with that situation, and they had us charged with the first one was a terrorist threat, which carried a life sentence, some type of kidnapping, some old type of stuff. They had us racked up. That's when they had my son, 19 Keys, was on this case. They went way in Ohio, snatched him up. They already had my Asian ones, my other son locked out. And I ministered Brother Sharif. And, but we knew how to fight. We knew how to use the law. We hired Attorney Cardoso. He was Italian, but he was well known. He did state and federal cases. We had him as our lead attorney. Then I got appointed Mr. Penrod. He's a young, progressive white boy, fresh out of law school, understand? And I got blessed because that's when he was bringing that technology. He was study case law on the computer. That's when they weren't doing all that then. So he got out with me. Jabril had a Boss Hall. He looked like Boss Hall. He ain't never won a case. And the Asian one had an attorney. And but we would meet all 4 of the attorneys in Mr. Cardoso's office and strategize on how to put the case together and present it. And we went to jury on that one. And what we would do, we civilized, suited and everything. Jabril had that schoolboy look. So every time the jury would go to the break, you understand, we tell Jabril go down into the break room too and purchase something, so they can feel this energy and all that thing that we did, it worked. They found us 8 for acquittal and 4 for guilty, never put them Asians on your damn case. They strictly for law and order. Get some good teachers. And so we took a deal because we know they're going to retry it, going to switch it back up. Took 4 years probation. Walked that off like nothing, man. You dig what I'm saying? And the one that we had with the conspiracy charge, all we doing, brothers and sisters, was take care of business. We were blowing up, man. We had security all over the state of California. Everywhere they had a proposal, we were submitting them. We learned the game. We were winning. If we didn't like the way they did it, we put an appeal on it. But the thing that got them the most when we won that $30 million contract over 5 years in Los Angeles, over their water system, we had control over the water district and the electrical. And once they peeped that, man, they said, we got to get these cats now. Understand? And they went and hired a sister that we had fired, or she had called the case doing something. They tried to use her to come back. They tried to get us to hire her back. We wouldn't hire her back. You understand? They wrote up a whole conspiracy case on us. They went and hired 2 attorney general. One was an ex-attorney general for the state of California. You understand what I'm saying? And they arrested wives. They arrested brother. Mother was 70-something years old. These sisters ain't never been in jail before. They got babies and stuff. They raided our temple. They had tanks. throwing smoke grenades in people's home. They didn't know where I stood. I stayed though. But I'm sitting there watching the whole move. I got a call. You did. They hit everybody except me. I said, well, I did my own assessment. I ain't did nothing wrong. I ain't did nothing illegal. All I'm doing is teaching and training, handling business. So I went told the brother to go get Brother Salim so he can lock up the temple. And I just walked across the street where they was at. They said, oh, there he is right there. That's why I like that picture where they got me handcuffed with that devil. So you don't see no fear. And Basir Farad Muhammad ain't built like that. You dig? Took us down. I was there about 8-9 months. You dig? We beat that out. You dig what I'm saying? Walked on out. You dig? What I love about the sisters, though, they ain't like the ones you see in the movie because they got children. Because we had other sisters that came and supported them, took care of the babies and stuff. They shut down all the accounts and stuff. They been busting in walls and shit. Think we selling dope. No, we take care of business. You understand? Get brothers off the street, creating food, clothing and shelter, housing for families and stuff like that. You dig? They don't like that when you're doing right. When you get a brother in the mud and go get him employment, you put that gun down, you start bringing home that paycheck because we never missed a payroll, take care of his families and stuff, man, changing the ways and mind and thinking of young black men, young black women. You understand? Sometimes we had call out on the job on security event, we might have 100 people, man. They get paid the next day. And we're so proud, though, that we never missed a payroll. Because, in security, your money might come every 45 days. So what we would do, we wouldn't even pay ourselves. You understand? If a person needed some money to pay out or something, take care of a bill to carry them over, we get a little pay or something. When that money came in, we pay ourselves, brothers and sisters. But we had shelter, the families that had children, understand, and didn't have no place to stay. They can come to us. We had a program set up to where we can get the foster children. Sister still got one of the children today, and he's grown now. Some families didn't have nowhere, but we had apartment units and stuff like that. We had get the foster children, we get them a house mother, be a housing for them, homes and stuff like that. That they would get trained in the way of MGT, of civilized human being, and those type of things. And they don't like that when you're doing good. So that's what's bringing me to the movement in Chicago right now. And I'm gonna wrap this up with Golden Child and what they're doing in Chicago. This is very, very important, and everybody should support this. Look it up. You can make donations to it or what have you. And this is backed by God himself. They don't want neighborhood to neighborhood and the murder rate is coming down. But then you had brothers that's been warned for over 10 years. One on one side is the black, and the other on the other side. And they finally said, man, we didn't have enough. I posted some of it on Facebook News today. That we done had enough, man, brother. So I'm putting my own life on the line. But we want this war to stop. You understand? I said, Allahu Akbar. So they signed a peace treaty. And then this was happening in Chicago when I heard a brother calling for it in Philly with them youngsters that's murdering and telling the entertainers and the athletes to support this type of movement so we can get it going in Philly. We can bring it down in Chicago. This should be a nationwide movement, and it's not going to be easy, and it's going to be very dangerous because they make big money off of us being criminals. Support the judge, the bailiff, the sheriff, correctional officers, and all these things. The stenographer, all of them get a big paycheck off of us. You understand? So when they see us making moves on the righteous level, you become the most dangerous threat in America. And they would do anything that they can to disrupt this, to try to keep the violence going. That's why when you're doing things like that, you have to dot your I's and cross your T's, because they're going to look for any mistake in your paperwork, in your contractual agreements. If you have to have insurance, all of that got to be above board. You understand? If they find any chink, they're going to use it. They'll have someone that they got up under their control in these organizations, the murder ones, try to kick this stuff back off, or they'll murder you. You understand what I'm saying? They used to sit across our temple, man, and the night before they raided our temple, we had an FOI meeting. We seen them parked across the street in the car. You understand? We had a man on post anyway. The next day they raided our temple because we're doing righteous work. Anytime the black man is doing righteous work, instead of the devil's work, you become a big threat. And they use the media to tarnish your name. They use everything in the government, the military, at their disposal to come at you. They send spies in and all type of stuff, brothers and sisters. So shout out to Golden Child in that movement, because I know it's going to spread. New Era Detroit, them brothers, I know it's other organizations out here I might not be familiar with, but make yourself known. So you can start forming an association with one another. You start working with one another, get up on the general order where you can function together and create an income. So when you accomplish these things, then these youngsters are going to have to eat. We bring the violence down, we can bring in industry into our communities where we can employ our young soldiers and they can make good money. Now, I told you about the political side. When you start taking over your community, you start standing on that straight path, and you in these various districts, you got 1,000, 2,000 brothers in that district. Now you form a voting block. You understand? Then you can make the city, or you can take over the alderman, or you can go to the alderman and say, this is what we want. You bring it in our community now. Now you got a voice. Instead of that, keep hope alive. And 1,000 of young soldiers in these street organizations, and they become eligible to use their vote in the political process like we did at your Black Muslim Bakery. Had the brother run for mayor, collected over 6,000 votes, became a political player. This is how we play the game. You understand? We got the power. We make the decision of what comes in our community. If you got some of the Arabs in there still selling the poison, you got to get up. Understand? Or you got to pay your taxes. Take overtime, black folks. Now that's what I talk about. Y'all want to be gangster. Be a righteous gangster. A righteous black man that's down for your people. You understand? Instead of these Negroes out here getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars and millions of dollars to get your vote, and you don't get a damn thing from it at all. But they pockets fat. A lot of people on the Breakfast Club here, their children go to private schools, come back talking proper. Fucking A, man. They don't even know how to even deal with black folks. You dig what I'm saying? But y'all getting rich off black folks supporting your butt. No, man, that is over with. Completely. So I say, wait a minute before I close out, man. Let me get a shot of this gold water, dude. You know I always get a shot before I close. So y'all can support me. I think we got a 33% off tonight. It was 44, but you mess with PopKeys, you can get it down 33% now. Understand? I know a lot of y'all don't support and stuff like that because your mind ain't right. Dig? I know a lot of brothers I know. Shit, they ain't bought a bottle yet. You got that bottle of Hennessy hanging in the back pocket. Understand? You better go back and get your uniform too. This is a uniform the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us. I said, allow you to put your white shirt and your bow tie on. Put that whole uniform on. Yeah. Who gave you the authority not to put your uniform on? Some of y'all I see running around with the scarf on looking like you from Saudi Arabia. You dig? Come on, let's get back on the square. You got knowledge. It's takeover time. This is the time you're living in. Allah gonna test you. I thank our black people that came in tonight. I'm gonna start teaching more on the family, our children, our young men, and the direction that we need to be moving in. So y'all tap in. And I try to keep Monday night open for our black woman best I can, give you that knowledge best I can. You understand? So once we converge and put it together as one, we good. So to recognize one another's ability, treating one another as civilized human beings. But the black man, you the head. You the one got to rake this righteous move. If you talk to your woman the right way, she'll tell you she waiting on you. Brother, to take that one step forward, who? Understand? And when you stop and stand on the square, she'll be right there with you. Understand? It's time for us to quit depending on someone. What we can do for ourselves. Man, we got gold in our community. All we got to do is set it up. Come out your house and sweep it up in front. Keep your block clean. Get the garbage off the streets. You understand? You got a lot of businesses that run by these foreigners. You go to their shop, you got garbage hanging all out the can before you get in the door. Trash sitting up, man. I ain't going up in there like that, man. I went to a shop in St. Louis one day. I think I picked up some paper, did something, throw it in there. That fool got mad at me. I said, shit, I ain't got to spend my money with you. Walked off and went to another spot. Hell, I'm trying to, you got the garbage sitting out there. Shouldn't be none out there. And I thought about, hell, if it looked like this on the outside, what it look like in the kitchen? You understand? I ain't got to spend no money with you because the young soldiers I knew once upon a time used to obey them. They went to all the Arab liquor stores and tore them up. Busted glasses and every damn thing. You understand? Y'all shut this down. They had to pay a little price for it, but hey, it's takeover time. So I say, Muhammad's got the devil on the run. That's right. Run, devil, run. Up, 2, 3, 4. Allahu Akbar. Another head in the bucket. Thank you, family, for tuning in. Please share, push the like button. You understand what I'm saying? Support those that's down in our community. Forget these house Negroes. You support these entertainers. And tell them this is what we want from your butt. Bring back so we can make it safe for your babies when they walk the streets. And keep your eye out for your children. Because these fools out here, man, is off the chain until we can get our neighborhood back, get them cleaned up. So y'all on point for your enemy, be on point for you that's coming into our community, that's kidnapping our babies. Well, we're going to clean it up. Shout out to the Unity Movement, New Era Detroit, and the other brothers that's out here that's moving in the same direction. It's our time now. Takeover time. Assalamu alaikum. Allahu Akbar.